Hey, I'm Redis141TV, and these are the games coming out the week of November 17th. Up first on November 17th, you have Force Strike for Switch and PC. It is a tactical kung fu roguelike where you use your foresight ability to practice brutal fights against mobs of enemies before executing the winning moves in reality. Up next, you have Indica for the Switch. A third-person adventure where you play as a nun, Indica, who travels with the devil as her companion, exploring themes of morality and religious doubt in a surreal Russian landscape. Up next, you have Sheepherds on PC. A cozy co-op party game where you and up to 3 friends play as sheepdogs, using barks and strategy to guide colorful, chaotic flocks of sheep across lovely landscapes. Also on the 17th, you have Solo Leveling Arise Overdrive for PC only. An action RPG based on the popular webtoon. Help protagonist Sung Jinwoo grow from an E-rank hunter to the Monarch of Shadows through intense combat, 8-job skill trees, and 4-player co-op raids. And lastly, for the 17th, you have The Berlin Apartment for PS5, Xbox X and S, and PC. This is a first-person narrative adventure where you uncover the emotional century-spanning stories of an apartment's former residents across 120 years of Berlin's history through renovation discoveries. Up first on November 18th, you have Marvel's Deadpool VR for Quest 3. A VR shooter action game where you play as the Merc with a Mouth, Deadpool, contracted by Mojo to capture Marvel villains using savage melee, ranged combat, and his signature dark humor. Up next, you have Morsels for PS5, Xbox X and S, Switch, and PC. A roguelike pixel art top-down shooter where you play as a mouse in a sewer, fighting villainous cats and collecting bizarre creatures called morsels that grant unique abilities. Up next, you have News Tower for PC, a management tycoon game set in 1930s New York. Build and manage your own newspaper, strategically covering the chaos of the Great Depression and the brink of World War II to meet your Sunday deadlines. Also on the 18th, you have Resident Evil Survival Unit for iOS and Android, a mobile strategy game set in the Resident Evil universe. Build bases, secure resources, and deploy characters like Leon and Jill in a real-time decision-making experience that blends strategy with survival horror. Up next, you have SpongeBob SquarePants Titans of the Tide for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Switch 2, and PC. A 3D platformer where you control SpongeBob and Patrick to stop villains from causing mayhem in Bikini Bottom, using spin attacks and ground pounds and melee combat against ghosts and bosses, and yes, David Hasselhoff is in the game. And finally, for the 18th, you have Squirrel with a Gun for Switch 2, an action-adventure sandbox game where you play as an ordinary squirrel wielding a gun after gaining enhanced intelligence, causing chaotic destruction in a suburban neighborhood and fighting agents. Up first on November 19th, you have Demon School, which this game looks insane. It's for PS5, Xbox X and S, PS4, Switch, and PC. A tactics RPG where you defeat demons and strange foes between the human and demon worlds while managing your school schedule and building relationships with 15 misfit companions. And the only other release today on the 19th is Moonlighter 2: The Endless Vault. This is early access for PC. An isometric action RPG roguelike where you delve into randomized dungeons, the Endless Vault, for loot, and then use your haul to run your shop and purchase permanent upgrades. Up first on November 20th, you have Islanders New Shores on iOS and Android. A cozy city builder puzzle game about building up peaceful, colorful islands. Place structures strategically to score points, unlock new building packs, and achieve the highest possible score. Up next, you have Kirby Air Riders for the Switch 2. A cute and chaotic, fast-paced racing game starring Kirby and friends. Acceleration is automatic, so you focus on movement using single button boosts, drifts, and new special attacks to beat your rivals. Up next, you have Monsters Are Coming: Rock and Road for Xbox Series X and S and PC. a tower survivor roguelite where you protect an ever-moving city from hordes of monsters. Gather resources and fortify your defenses to survive the onslaught and reach the Arch. Also on the 20th, you have Prologue Go Way Back. This is early access for PC. An open-world survival game with classic mechanics. It features machine learning-driven terrain generation to create millions of possible maps, challenging players to explore their limits and survive. And also we have Retrace the Light on PC, a 2.5D action adventure where you play as an enforcer for a super AI, exploring human consciousness to heal emotional wounds, solving puzzles, and mastering the unique spatial retracing ability. And finally for the 20th, we have Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl for PS5. A first-person shooter survival horror set in the post-apocalyptic Chernobyl exclusion zone. Survive by monitoring hunger and sleep, collecting artifacts, and navigating dangerous anomalies. This game was made by developers in Ukraine. Very cool. Up first on the 21st, we have Bleach Soul Resonance on iOS and Android. An officially authorized action RPG set in the Soul Society from the Bleach anime. Engage in fast-paced combat with innovative blade clashes and seamlessly switch between iconic characters to unleash powerful combos. Up next on the 21st, Cobra Concept's gonna love this one. One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 for PS5, Xbox, X and S, and Switch 2. This is an action game where you follow Luffy and the Straw Hats through the One Piece story. Play as your favorite characters and slash through vast hordes of enemies and destroy the environment in massive battles. And finally on the 21st, we have Terrifier, the arcade game for PS5 and PC. A gory, retro-inspired fighting beat-em-up where you play as the sinister clown, Art, unleashing pixelated carnage and dark humor on film sets and local 4-player co-op.